Hi guys, 2012 is nearly over, and this year's brought a lot of games, and it is getting easier for people to buy it, especially with all of the sales on Steam and just the ease of buying them online instead of having to go out to the shops. So I think this year I've bought the most games I've ever done in a year. I've also played a lot of older ones as well, but I've compiled a list of the 10 games that I've enjoyed the most this year. So without further ado, let's get this thing going. So we start the list on number 10, and this goes to XCOM Enemy Unknown. This is so low down in the list, partly because of the bugs. There are some that are just frustrating and make you just want to pick up your computer and just throw it out the window and never see the game again. However, I have really enjoyed this game, even though there are bugs. There's stuff like you can't move if you're on too high a level, and you just can't see the map. You can't shoot at some enemy, even though they're blatantly within gun sight. The sort of hardness of it, and just the sort of turn-based combat style that this game sort of brought back, which you haven't seen for quite a while. I mean, there have been the odd exceptions, but not at this sort of level. And it's just one of those games that's really brought back my childhood, and just I've really enjoyed this thoroughly. Definitely check it out, but be aware of all of the bugs, like I've said. Number 9 goes to Counter-Strike Global Offensive. Now, I was a bit dubious when this first came out. I was a real big fan of 1.6 and then Source when it came out, and I had seen what they'd done to it and some of the changes, and I wasn't 100% sold straight away. I got it in the sale, and I have to say they've done a good job of it. They've done the Counter-Strike name proud. They've changed some of the menus, which I wasn't too keen on, and also taken away the silencers, but everything else is pretty much untouched, and it is very polished, and it is a nice addition to the series. Some of the effects that they've added are really nice. They've even added in the arms race mode, which is the classic gun game mode, which a lot of people were playing anyway in CS Source as a mod. So it is nice that they've actually added that mode into it, and also kept some of the original maps. You've got some stuff like Assault and The Dust, which were some classic maps. So it is nice they've done that, as well as adding on new maps. It would be nice if they'd done like 747, which that never made it into Source for some strange reason, and that was a really good map. So it'd be nice to see that and play on that in an updated graphic style. However, this is still a good game, especially if you're fans of the original Counter-Strikes, and they've definitely done it proud. It's worth looking into. Kerbal Space Program is my number 8. Now, this game for me has been like Apollo 13 times a million. That's a big number. You basically get given all of the tools that you need to make your own spaceship or shuttle and take your Kerbalies up into the wide galaxy to boldly go where no Kerbal has gone before. Like I was saying, in actual fact, when I play it, they're boldly burning to death and crashing a lot. Hey, luckily they've got a big budget. Otherwise, if I was running NASA, that would be dead and gone into the ground by now. Kerbal Space Program, my number 8. Number 7 goes to Natural Selection 2. I thought this game made the link between first-person shooter and real-time strategy quite well, actually. There's just a nice smooth link between the two of them, and you can fluidly go from one to the other, provided you can get into the commander station. The two sides are a nice sort of mixture between styles, and it's very much StarCraft meets Alien in that respect. The one downfall to this game, though, is the fact that you need a decent commander to actually make the game work properly. If you can get one of those, and they know what they're doing, you're on for a winner, and most likely you're going to win the round. It is also let down by the sort of lack of a training mode. Most of the training is done via the usage of YouTube videos, and also a sort of look around mode. However, this doesn't really let you be a commander properly. In order to be a decent commander, and when you're in the explore mode, you need to have more than one person, and 9 times out of 10 you won't be able to find that second person in the modes, which definitely whenever I've tried to find it, I've never found anyone. It does give you an idea, but it is very daunting. But that aside, like I was saying, it's a very decent game, and it moulds the two genres in nicely, and yeah, you're definitely onto a winner if you have that decent commander. Oh, Uncle Deckard! No lair. I'm not having Diablo 3 as number 6. In fact, it goes to Torchlight 2. This dungeon crawler has given me many hours of excitement already, and I haven't had it that long. It was an early Christmas present to me, and it's been very fun. It doesn't suffer from some of the DRM that Diablo 3 has. You don't have to be online all of the time to play it, and you don't have to go through loads of different difficulty modes to make it more challenging to yourself. That's available just from the start. You have also got dungeons that level themselves up, and they are different levels, so as you progress it does get harder, and even though some of the loot might not be that great, you can pick it all up and give it to your pet and just say, go back to town, sell all that shit, pick me up some other stuff. It's a fun game. Hey, what more can I say? It's a nice alternative to Diablo. Number 5 goes to one of the surprise games of the year, and this is Hotline Miami. It's a very small indie game, and there's been a lot of news about it being pirated and everything. But it is a good game, and it's definitely worth buying. It's at that level of difficulty where you will just go, I'm just so frustrated with it, and it makes you go, I've just got to try one more time because it might go differently this time. Well, if I try this, maybe it'll work. And it's basically a slash 'em up gory puzzle game, really. That's the one way to describe it, and it has got its sort of unique retro-y feel about it as well. Awesomenauts, number 4 on my list, combines platforming with a MOBA style game in just such a fun way. This is an awesome game. It's got a really cool soundtrack. Every character's got their own sound. You can preload up your customizations before the game, so you can quickly buy them in the shops. So unlike something like LoL, where I spend tons of time just reading through all of the stats while in game, while I should be out pushing a lane, with Awesomenauts you can just simply do that beforehand, and then you know exactly what stuff you can buy, so you can go into the shop, quickly buy it, and then link in with all of the platforming style, the MOBA style. The platforming stuff is stuff I grew up on, like Mario and Sonic, so I think that helped my love for this game, along with the sort of classic cartoon style that they don't take themselves seriously at all with this game, which is really nice, and it's just fun and enjoyable to play. Number 3 is Chivalry Medieval Warfare. This is such a cool slash 'em up game. I've had hours of fun in this, and it looks a lot simpler when you just watch people play it, but when you actually get your hands on it, there's a lot more things going on. Like, you can attack with different strokes, you can block stuff, and you actually have to be quite skilled to be able to do that properly. You can sprint attack, and there's a lot of things you need to be thinking of. You can also feint some of your attacks, and the best thing is you can yell. I mean, how cool is that? You can just yell, do your battle cry in the middle of the battlefield, and just charge in, swinging your mace around or your bastard sword, and you can even pretend to be Ned Stark. The man who passes a sentence should swing the sword. Chivalry Medieval Warfare, my number 3. Number 2 on my list is Telltale's The Walking Dead. Now, this game just blew me away with the sheer amount of sort of affection I had for all of the characters, or the utter hatred I had for some of the other ones. it really sort of struck me how much I cared about when some of the characters died, and I think this game just really played that well. It's basically just a point and click adventure with a load of QTEs. That's the simplest way to describe it, but every event will affect the story in some way, and you will get sort of cut breakdowns at the end, and at the end of every chapter you get breakdowns of how you did compared to the rest of the world that played the game. Did you choose option A or B? And some of these options you will lose characters, they will die, and I just really loved that about the game. I'm not going to spoil too much about it just in case you still want to play it, and I'm not going to say X, Y and Z they die, but it's worth a check out, especially for the story, and I think it's definitely worth picking up again in one of the sales. So before I reveal what my top game of the year is, let's just go down that list again. In number 10, XCOM Enemy Unknown. Number 9, Counter-Strike Global Offensive. Number 8, Kerbal Space Program. 7, Natural Selection 2. In at 6, Torchlight 2. Number 5 gave us Hotline Miami. Number 4, the awesome Awesomenauts. Number 3, Chivalry and Medieval Warfare. Number 2, Walking Dead. So this leaves number 1 then, my favourite game of 2012. Now this game was a real shock and surprise to me. It's FTL of course, and it lets you be your own starship captain. How cool is that? It's a really simple game, and the whole stylizations, as you can see in the background, it's nothing to really call home about. However, it's just such a fun game, and I've wasted hours and hours of my life just trying to go through and beat the end boss. I think out of about 1,000,000 tries I've beaten it once, and that was on easy mode because I just couldn't get anywhere in normal. It gives you completely random scenarios and loadouts every time, so every single game that you play is different, and it's permadeath, so if you screw up you've got to live with that through the rest of the playthrough, and you can screw up a lot and you can make bad choices. Also, the soundtrack of the game is just awesome. Either way, this is my game of the year. Definitely check this out. So that's my top 10 for 2012, and I'll see you guys next year. Goodbye.